Welcome back to Mallory Park for the final round of the 750 Motor Club Formula 4 Championship. There are 4 drivers still in contention for the title, and leading the way coming into this Mallory Park finale is Malcolm Scott. But there were fears up until 2 or 3 days ago that he wouldn't be able to race here at Mallory Park. At Croft just 3 weeks ago, he injured his shoulder in a freak accident when he was pushing the car of another competitor to help get it started. He fell awkwardly, and only in the last few days has he been given the go-ahead to take part in the race this weekend. His closest competitor is Robbie Watts, always quick, and underneath the lap record in qualifying this morning, he lines up on pole position. Other drivers still with a chance are Bryn Toutel and Johnny Weston-Taylor, who's had more wins than anyone this season. Problems there on the grid for the number 41 car, Jack, as the race is about to get underway.
Yep, it's Simon Emerson waving his arms frantically. Hopefully now everyone behind will have seen him, so we wait for the lights here. The 5-second board is hoisted aloft, and the deciding round of the Formula 4 season is, after a long hold, finally going to get underway. There we go. So it's the 2 title protagonists off the front row of the grid. Ollie Cyril's made a great start by the looks of things from the second row of the grid. Emerson doesn't get away then. He stays there, and pulling off on the infield, is that Jenny Scott?
It is, but what a disastrous start that was for Robbie Watts from pole position, and a great start for Malcolm Scott from the outside of the front row because he moves into an early lead. Really, Robbie Watts needs to finish 2 or 3 places ahead of Malcolm if he's going to stand a chance of the championship, but he's 3 places behind him now. Watts down in 4th, and Scott, the man from Upminster, leads. It's Ollie Cyril in 2nd place. In 3rd place is Bryn Toutel. In 4th place then, this is that number 7 car of Robbie Watts, and then Johnny Weston-Taylor is in 5th, having had problems in qualifying.
Bryn Toutel all over the grass on the run down, and he nearly collects Robbie Watts there on the exit of the hairpin as they make their way towards the Devil's Elbow. Now, Ollie Cyril, the man in the 79 car in 2nd place, really is the kind of wild card in this mix. He's the only man in this top group of cars that isn't actually directly involved in the championship battle, and at the moment he's letting Malcolm Scott get away as we watch Bryn Toutel right up behind him.
Realistically, Toutel and Weston-Taylor will only come into this if Watts and Scott both hit problems, and they're both going fairly strongly here, albeit Watts further down than he expects to be normally. He's having a look up the inside though of Bryn Toutel as they come down into the S's for the second time. Toutel holds on, and Watts has to settle for the moment for 4th position. Look, Scott is getting away.
Yeah, because Ollie Cyril is going defensive into most corners. He didn't go too defensive into the hairpin that time around, but Robbie Watts is going to be the man most determined, I'd imagine, to try and make his way up the order, because it's absolutely crucial for him to do so. Through the Devil's Elbow, and it's going to be side by side. It looks like Bryn Toutel's going to the outside of Ollie Cyril as they make their way down towards Gerrard's. Surely Ollie Cyril can keep that position. He can, but as he's saying, this is going to be a gift for Malcolm Scott, who starts to pull even further away. Look at he is flashing through the bottom of the shot before the rest of them have even exited Gerrard's.
Watts going to the outside here, but Toutel goes defensive. Jenny Scott, who retired on the first corner, she'll be watching her dad and cheering him on from the sidelines, no doubt. Through the S's they go, and it really is very close racing. It's very difficult to overtake with these slicks and wings cars, but Bryn Toutel disproves that theory by going around the outside, but he goes too deep into the corner, and he might lose the position there to Robbie Watts. The 2 of them running side by side as they come down the hill towards Devil's Elbow, and Bryn Toutel just holds on.
Yeah, Robbie Watts went a bit wider into there than he would have wanted, and Toutel cuts back to take a bit of slipstream. He's moving about 8 times down the straight to try and decide which way he wants to go to try and put off Ollie Cyril, but Cyril at the moment appearing very, very unflustered in his car as he makes his way out of Gerrard's down the straight then, and this time, he's getting attacked from both sides, isn't he? Toutel up the inside. Robbie Watts is going to try and go around the outside, so Robbie Watts makes it past Bryn Toutel, doesn't get past Ollie Cyril, but he's up into 3rd place.
So Cyril then, who used to race this car in Class C, Formula 4 C-Tech specification, has put the wings on it for this season. He's going to be overtaken, is he, by Robbie Watts? Round the outside they go with their hairpin, and look, there's 4 of them together now because Johnny Weston-Taylor joining in as well. Cyril just about holding on. Watts is now 3rd. He's ahead then of Bryn Toutel, the Formula 2 stock car racer, who tries now to come back to him as they come across the line to complete another lap, but Watts now mounting a bid for 2nd place. He looks to the outside of Ollie Cyril, but it does not work.
Johnny Weston-Taylor, I'm surprised Weston-Taylor hasn't got more speed than this, quite frankly, because most of the races he's competed in this year, as he said earlier, he has won, so perhaps he's just hanging back and seeing how things unfold in front of him as Robbie Watts goes past Ollie Cyril down into the S's. He got a better run out of Gerrard's, and now will he romp clear and close in Malcolm Scott?
JWT has a bit of a litany of problems in qualifying this morning, didn't do the full session, and possibly a legacy of that means that on a spin for Bryn Toutel. He goes round at the hairpin, and he's going to have to wait, I think, for the rest of the field to come through. Now, has he kept that running? His right nose in against the wall of the Shaw's corner there. Visor comes up. And is Bryn Toutel going to be out of the race? He's in a very difficult and dangerous position as well. And he's signalling to the marshals, I think I need a hand.
Yes, let's see if they come in. He's asking for a push. I think here's the replay. I think here Bryn Toutel is the third man in this queue. Looks to the outside, has a little tentative look up the inside to Ollie Cyril, and he's just misjudged the corner and driven into the barriers on the inside. Yeah. So that's a classic. The rear end is a bit wider than the front end.
Yeah, just clipped that the apex a little too closely there, didn't he? And you can't do that at the hairpin. Well, the marshals have done a good job there to get Bryn pointing back in the right direction. He's going to rejoin this race, isn't he? But he is going to be a long way down the order. By my reckoning, he will be at least one lap down.
I was going to say, that's Johnny Weston Taylor that actually just passed him there, as we see Paul Presgraves making his way down into Shaw's hairpin and out. He has already confirmed the Class C champion, isn't he, Ian?
Yeah, that's right. That was wrapped up at Snetterton last time out. Now this is the 40 car of David Woodsworth-Dale, and also involved, you can see, 21 Clive Yoreth, who's going to be the Class B champion as well for this season in his bike-engined Reynard SF84. That's a converted Sports 2000 Formula Ford 2000 car, I should say. Now here is Malcolm Scott. Robbie Watts has caught right onto the tail of him now.
Into Lake S's then, and Robbie Watts clearly, as you say, has reeled him in over the past few laps, whilst we've been looking at the other class battles. He looks to the outside at Shaw's hairpin. Little lock up from Johnny Weston Taylor, who's obviously got past Ollie Cyril as well, as they make their way into the Devil's Elbow. Watts is going to be tucked right up into the slipstream then as they make their way down the start-finish straight. What is Scott's attack or plan of attack going to be? Is he going to make a move? No, not quite here. In fact, that's not Ollie Cyril, that's Bryn Toutel trying to unlap himself, isn't it?
It is Bryn Toutel. He's made an interesting decision here to try and go with this battle. He's one full lap behind the leaders, but he's getting involved in a scrap for third place, and this is the scrap for the lead, and could it be the scrap for the championship as well? Robbie Watts looks down the inside of Malcolm Scott. The two Van Diemens doing battle here. The Van Diemen Raw 09 with a lot of extra work done it by Robbie and his team over the winter coming into 09-10. But he's not able to make a way through. But look, Johnny Weston Taylor now up into third. It's very close indeed, but the car in effectively fourth place is a lap down.
Onto the start-finish straight once more, and well, Weston Taylor's just going to be sitting there hoping, I'd imagine, that these two just collect each other at some point, hoping one of them will make a rash decision, because if both of those two retire, Johnny Weston Taylor, especially with Bryn Toutel being a lap down now, will be in the prime position to take the championship. But it's still Malcolm Scott looking good at the moment as they make their way down towards Lake Esses. Even if Robbie Watts get past, I think Scott will be happy to settle for second place, wouldn't he?
He would be, yes, but I'm sure he'd like to get out on a high. He had just the one win at Cadwell Park when there was that epic battle with Andrew Minette for the final lap. Minette not able to start here on a change of lead though. Robbie Watts up on the inside. A big lock-up from JWT in third position, and Watts has got the lead away, but he needs at least a couple more cars to get past Malcolm Scott if Watts is going to win the championship.
Well, that was a great move from Robbie Watts, but it's not all over yet because Malcolm Scott is looking to the outside, and look, Bryn Toutel's getting properly involved. It's almost three abreast, and Robbie Watts is slowing, is he? No, he just didn't quite get a good run as they come into Gerard's corner, and here comes a backmark.
Oh, well, if it wasn't exciting before, it certainly is now. They negotiate that slower car around there at Gerard's Bend, and a problem for Robbie Watts. Watts is slowing now. Look at this dramatic stuff here at Mallory Park as Malcolm Scott accelerates away. Jonathan Weston Taylor up to second place. Robbie Watts now down to third position, but dropping away. His bad luck, which has been going on all season, is continuing.
And Bryn Toutel is still determined to unlap himself. So Robbie Watts, has he just cancelled himself out of championship contention? Will he make it to the end? We'll try and see as Clive Yoreth then comes across the line in his Class B car. Then it's Malcolm Scott with a furiously determined Bryn Toutel right up behind him.
Well, Robbie Watts needs to carry on going, because if Malcolm Scott fails to finish and Watts can bring his car home, Watts is the champion. If neither of Scott and Watts finish, then I reckon Bryn Toutel, albeit a lap down, will have done enough. But Watts here, this is a big problem. That car not sounding healthy at all.
Well, this is Permutation City, isn't it, as they make their way down into the hairpin. Bryn Toutel still looking to the outside line, but as Malcolm Scott breaks into Shaw's hairpin for the final time, if he can just negotiate the Devil's Elbow, then no matter if Johnny Weston Taylor finishes, no matter if Robbie Watts finishes, Malcolm Scott is going to be the 2010 Formula 4 champion. He takes the checkered flag, and what an incredible season it's been. Johnny Weston Taylor comes home in second.
What a great finale to the season it was. Poor Poor Robbie Watts, every time we speak to him, he bemoans his bad luck, and with some justification as well. That looks like it's very expensive, doesn't it, as well? He's done his best to get all the way to the flag, and he might, well, just make it, I think, in 9th position. But probably that's at the expense of his engine, I would suggest.
Yeah, he can stick the clutch in and roll it down the hill from the Devil's Elbow. Here comes Robbie Watts. If he comes across the line, I think he's still going to claim 2nd position in the championship. If he makes it to the line, it's going to be a Nigel Mansell-esque push over the line, is it? No, he just about cruises, but he is going to be thoroughly disappointed with the way this season's ended.
Well, after the race, Robbie Watts magnanimous in defeat, and one of the first to applaud and congratulate Malcolm Scott, who took the win, his 2nd of the season in the final round of the championship. Johnny Weston-Taylor was 2nd, Ollie Cyril a distant 3rd, with Shane Kelly in 4th position. We didn't see much of him in the Van Diemen RF96. There you can see the 2 remaining finishers, James Chapman and David Woodsworth-Dale. The non-finishers, Paul Young, William Teagan and Jenny Scott. We saw her out of the race on the first lap. Confirmation that Malcolm Scott is the champion. He wins the Johnny Walker Trophy for that. 20 points clear in the end of Robbie Watts, who needed that finish. He was only 2 points clear of Vintu Tell in 3rd and Johnny Weston-Taylor in 4th. Ollie Cyril completed the top 5. Andrew Minette was 6th, and Paul Presgraves, as we said, was the Class C winner.